Good morning to all. I am Dr. M. Srinivaslu, HOD in Mechanical Engineering, Government Partner Prakal. This is my day one's video lecture. I have chosen the subject strength of materials for my video lecture. I thought this subject previously for the C16 batch. In C18 batch also, we are having this SM subject. Now, I prepared the PPT for this subject, and now I will share the PPTs and we will go to the lesson. So, the strength of materials is one of the important subjects. It gives the basic ideas and design of the various members of the elements of the machine tools. It also gives the basic concepts for the different subjects like design of machine elements and other important ones. Now, coming to the subject, our today's lesson is the simple. I will cover the basic concepts about the simple stresses and strains. So, on completion of this class, we could able to define the stresses, loads, and we'll have a simple problems on the stresses also. So, first of all, what is the stress? So, as we know that we are coming across the loads on the members. Actually, what is the load? The when a when force is nothing but the load. So load means when a force is applied, it is the body is subjected to some kind of changes. The force also can be defined as an agent which changes or tries to change the position of a body. That means if a force is applied to a body which is at rest condition, the body will be set into motion. Or if the force is applied to a moving body, then if the force is applied in the direction of its motion, the it creates the acceleration, the velocity increases. Or if the force is applied in a reverse direction to the top of the motion, then it creates the decrease in velocity. Like that, it changes the change of position of a body, whether it is in motion or it is at starting condition. And similarly, when the force is applied to a static body, it creates some stresses and strains. So, stress means whenever a force is applied to a body, the body will develop the resistance to overcome the effect of that force, and this resistance is proportional to the applied force. When the force tries to increases, the amount of resistance also gradually increases, and at any time the resistance developed by the body is equal to the force applied on the body. So the this resistance, this internal resistance offered by the body per unit area of cross section is termed as the stress. So it in generally the internal resistance developed in the body is almost equal to the external force applied. So therefore we can say that the force applied per unit area of cross section is also termed as the stress. So mathematically the stress is equal to force by area. Generally the stress is denoted with letter small f. So small f is equal to P by A. That is a mathematical equation, and the stress is measured in newtons per square millimeters in SI units. And now coming to the stresses. So now actually we got the different kind of stresses, but before knowing about the types of stresses, now first of all we should know the classification of the loads, because the types of stresses induced in the body are depend on the types of loads. Therefore we should study about the loads and their kinds. So already we have defined the load. What is the load? Load means an external force acting on the body is termed as the load, and the SI unit is newtons. And also it can be measured in, it also can be expressed in ground newtons and mega newtons and so on. So according to some criteria, the loads are classified. The first one is the according to the manner in which it is applied. So the load is classified as dead load or steady load or the static load. That means this kind of load will not vary with time. It will always remain constant. It will simply applied. So whatever the magnitude, that will remain constant. The second is the live load or the varying load. It is also called as the fluctuating load. That means with time the magnitude of the load will continuously changes. Sometimes it may be increases, sometimes it may decrease also. The examples are so this is called the triangle load, trapezoidal load are the examples for the live load. The next one is the shock load or the impact load. So here shock load means it is nothing but a suddenly applied load. When the load applied without any time, then it will have the different impact, and that is called as the impact load also. So in case of dead load, what is happening is the magnitude of the load will gradually increases from 0 to maximum, and the average of the load can be taken as 0 plus P by 2, that is the P by 2 is the average load. But in case of the shock load, what is happening is the magnitude remains constant because it will be applied within no time. So the magnitude will remain constant, and that is equal to P. So generally the when the same amount of load is applied in a static condition, statically, and second one is impact load. So in the impact load, the magnitude of the load will be doubled as that of the static load. Now according to the effect produced by the force on the member, so the loads will be producing the different effects, like it may produce the tension, it may produce the compression, it may produce sometimes shear, sometimes bending, sometimes twisting effect. According to that effect, depending on the effect produced by the force in the member, the loads are classified as the tensile load, compressive load, shear load, bending load, and twisting load. So in case of the tensile load, so here the load always acts along the axis of the body, and the tendency of the load is in pull direction. That means the body will be subjected to two equal and opposite pulls, as a result of which a tensile force is created in the body, and that force is called as the tensile load. So this kind of load will produce the elongation or the extension. The second one is the compressive load. So this compressive load is the reverse of that of the tensile load. It produces the compression or the pulling tendency, sorry, pushing tendency in the member. And whenever a body is subjected to two equal and opposite forces, which results in the contraction of the body, then that load is called as the compressive load. So it produces the contraction in the body. The next one is the shear load. So it consists of so yeah, this shear load will produce the shearing action. Here what is happening is, when two equal and opposite parallel forces acting on the two surfaces of the body will try to shear up, and this kind of load is called the shearing load. Next, the bending load. So in this case, when the load acts in a direction perpendicular to the axis of the member is called as the bending load, and this bending load produces the certain deformation, so the certain deflection in the member, and due to that it forms a curvature. The next one is the twisting load or the torsional load. So this twisting load or the torsional load will produce the twisting effect. That is, one end is fixed and other end is subjected to the rotation movement. In that case, so it some kind of torsional forces are produced, and this is called as the torsional load. In this case, so it is this torsional load can be applied by, or it is produced by two equal and opposite couples which are acting at the opposite ends. So due to this, it creates a certain kind of twist, certain amount of twist in the member. So these are the figures. First we can say the figure A is the tensile load. So in this case, the rod is subjected to the elongation, and figure B is the compressive load. In this case, the member is subjected to the contraction because it is subject to the two equal and opposite compressive forces. And third one is the shear load. So here the rivet in the body is subjected to shear loading, and if the load exceeds the permissible limit, it will try to shear up the rivet into two parts. Now the next one is this is the torsional load. Here one end of the body is fixed in the frame, and other end is subjected to the rotation movement. So here the P amount of force P is applied, which is acting at a distance of d from the center point. Here the moment of couple is equal to P into d, and this produces the rotation of is subjected to, it produces the twisting effect of one end, and the other end is fixed one. And this kind of load is called the bending load. Here the body is supported at two ends, and the force P is applied at midpoint in this figure, and it will try to produce the deflection in the member, and in this case this load is applied perpendicular to the axis of the member. Now, so coming to the stresses. So as we classified the forces accordingly, the stresses are also classified depending on the force. So the kind of force, which kind of force acts accordingly, the stresses also will be classified. The first one is so we have got basically three important stresses. They are called as the tensile stress, compressive stress, and shear stress. In the first case, the tensile stress. Coming to the tensile stress, here what is happened? So when a body is subjected to tensile force, that is two equal and opposite pull type forces, as a result of which the length of the body will increase, then that is called as the tensile force, and the stress induced in that condition is called as the tensile stress. So the tensile stress is equal to tensile load by area cross section. Generally, any stress is equal to load by area. So in this case, the tensile stress is equal to tensile load by area, and generally the tensile stress is regarded as a positive one. And next one is the compressive stress. So this compressive stress will be occurring in a member when it is subjected to two equal and opposite pushes, as a result of which the body will be subjected to contraction, and here it will develop a compressive load. So the resulting stress is called as the compressive stress. So compressive stress is equal to compressive load by area cross section. This is also equal to P by A. And here this in the compressive stress, it produces the contraction which is regarded as in which the length of the member will reduce. So generally the compressive stresses are regarded as a negative. Next one is the shear stress. So in this case, the shear load by the corresponding area is called as the shear stress. So the ratio of the shear load by surface area is called as the, or the area in shear is called as the shear stress, and generally it is denoted by the symbols Fs or tau. And for all cases of stresses, so now we will discuss about the units. Now the unit of stress is Newton per square millimeters or Newton per square meter. So and 1 Newton per square meter is nothing but a Pascal. Next, coming to the strain. Whenever a body is subjected to strain, so some kind of change in length will occur. If it is a tensile stress, the length will increase. If it is a compressive stress, the length will decrease. So that is the change in length. So the ratio of the change in length by original length. So whenever a body is subjected to external force, the ratio of the change in length to original length is called as the strain, and here the the strain is denoted with the letter small e, and it is a dimensionless quantity, and it is not having any units. Mathematically, the strain is equal to strain E is equal to delta L by L, where delta L is the change in dimension, that is change in length or the change in width or change in thickness, and L is equal to the original dimension, that is the original length. Now here generally the longitudinal strain means if the strain produced along the length of the body, that is along the uh, force applied, the direction in which the force is applied is called as the longitudinal strains. And if the when and in some cases we'll consider the strain produced in a direction perpendicular to the applied force. In that case, they are called as the lateral strains. So longitudinal strains, and we got the lateral strains. Now we'll discuss about a problem on this one. So first one is this is a problem. A steel rod of 20 millimeters diameter and 600 mm long is subjected to an axial pull of 40 kilonewtons. Determine the stress. So it is a very simple problem which will estimate the stress produced. Now in the given data, the force is given as 40 kilonewtons, that is 40 into 1000 newtons, and the diameter is given as 20 millimeters, and the length is given as a 600 mm. Now the area is calculated as 5 by 4 into d square, that is A is equal to 5 by 4 into 20 square, that is equal to 314.16 square millimeters. Now the stress F is equal to load by area. Here the load is equal to 40 into 1000 newtons, and area is the 314.16. So it comes to be 127.32 newtons per square millimeters. So this is the amount of stress produced in the member. Now so in this case, once again we will discuss about the stresses. Here the stresses are generally three types, that is the tensile stress, compressive stress, and shear stress. Here tensile stress is equal to the tensile load by area, and compressive stress is equal to compressive load by area, and shear stress is equal to shear load by area. Now these units and all this we have just gone through. Now coming to the summary. So in this lesson we have discussed about the very basic concepts of what is called the forces, and forces are nothing but loads and their classification, and definition of the stresses, types of loads, and types of stresses have been discussed. Now so we will have some small quiz. So the formula for the stress is we got the four options. First one is the load by area, second is the load into area, third one is the load into length, and fourth one is the load by length. The correct answer is the load by area. The next one is the unit of stress. We already studied about the unit of stress, and here we got four options. The first one is the newtons per square millimeters, and the second option is the newton per square millimeters, and third one is the newton per mm to the power of 4, and fourth one is the newton per mm to the power of q. So here the correct answer is the unit is newtons per square millimeters, that is the first option. And so this is the assignment. So when we work out this assignment, we will come into some idea about the stresses. So a steel rod 30 mm diameter and 800 mm long is subjected to an axial pull of 50 kilonewtons. determine the stress. So here also we can find out the stress. First, in this case, we have to find out the area. Then we got the load is given. So and we have to substitute the values in the formula, that is stress is equal to load by area. So with that we will get the answer. The next one, the next assignment is given as a specimen of 40 by 60 millimeters cross section is subjected to a load of 35 kilonewtons. The specimen has a 800 mm in length. So calculate the stress induced in the member. So now in the previous case we have studied about only the a member having a round cross section. So in the present case, this specimen is having a cross section. He has given as what 40 by 60. That means so it is having a cross section of rectangle. The rectangle diameters are given as 40 one side and 60 other side. So the cross section area can be found by 40 into 60, that is length into width formula. Then the load is given and also length is given, and accordingly we can find out the stress in the member by substituting the values in the formula. F is equal to P by A, where P is equal to 35 newtons and area can be calculated as 40 into 60. And we are the frequently asked questions. So generally, so we should know the definition of stress. What is stress? And list out the types of loads and what are the types of stresses. Now here already we discussed, and once again we can repeat what is the stress means. Whenever a body is subjected to some external forces, it develops internal resistance. So at any moment the amount of internal resistance is equal to the external force applied to the body, and generally the stress can be defined as the whenever a body is subjected to external forces, the internal resistance offered by the body per unit area of cross section is called as the stress, and the SI unit of the stress is Newton per square millimeters. Now coming to the loads, what are the least of the types of loads? So we got the different kind of loads. The load is so depending on the the generally the loads are classified on some different criteria. And coming to the slides now, if you see the kind of that is the loads, so according to the manner in which they are applied, so dead load or a static load or a steady load, and the next one is the leave load. It is also called a varying load or the fluctuating load. Next one is the shock load or impact load. Next, according to the effect produced on the member, so they are classified as the, so here a tensile load, compressive load, shear load, bending load, and twisting, or it is also called as the torsional load. So here the tensile load will be developed in the member when that body is subjected to a tensile load. Tensile load means body is subjected to two equal and opposite pulls. Means the force will produce the extension or the elongation of the body. And next, compressive load. The compressive load can be developed in the member when it is subjected to two equal and opposite pushes, as a result of which the body will try to compress or try to contract, try to reduce in the length. The next one is the shear load. Here, when a body is subjected to a loading such that the body will be try to shear up into two parts. So this will happen when one force acts on the one side and the other force at the other side, and they will act in a quite opposite direction, and then they will try to shear up. That kind of load is called as the shear load. The next one is the bending load. In this case, the load is applied in a direction perpendicular to the axis of the member. That is, in the previous case of the tensile load and compressive load, what is happening is the load acting along the axis. But in case of the bending load, here what is happening is the load is acting in a vertical direction or in a direction perpendicular to the axis of the member, and as a result of which some kind of deflection is produced in the member. And so here the next one is the twisting load or the torsional load. In this case, what is happening is only one end of the member is subjected to rotation, and the other end is remains constant. It will not change. So, generally this twisting load example is like a rotation. So applying a wrench and rotating. So the one end of the member is fixed, and we can apply a wrench at the other end, and we will try to rotate. Here, what is happening is we will try to twist the body only at one side. Here, the layers of the member are subjected to some kind of deflection, and so here the tensile load will produce the elongation, and it is considered as a positive one, and compressive load will produce the contraction. It is considered to be the negative one, and shear load produce the shearing action. So here what is happening is the body will be cut into two parts due to this kind of load, and the bending load will produce the deflection. Here what is happening is the entire body will bend, so the deflection will occur in a vertical direction to the horizontal axis, or we can say the deflection will occur in a perpendicular direction to that of the axis of the body. And this in the case of the twisting effect will be produced by the twisting load, and like that. And here if you see, so these are the best examples. Here the one end of the rod is fixed to the beam, and at the other end the load is attached. Here what is happening is this load will try to apply the force that is of tensile nature in the body, in the rod. And so to, here what is happening is, in order to support, in order to keep the rod in equilibrium condition, the other end also will apply same equal and opposite force. That is, the other end also subjected to equal pull type force. So here the rod is subjected to the two equal and opposite pulls, as a result of which the rod is tend to elongate, tend to increase in length, and this kind of load is called as the tensile load. Coming to the second one, the compressive load. So here what is happening is the body is a load is applied on the body. The body will carry some kind of dead load. Here what is happening? So it is carrying a dead load, and on the surface also what is happening to withstand that dead load, this floor or the surface also will apply same equal and opposite to that kind of load. That is, so at the surface also it will apply the it will apply the same kind of load but in opposite direction. So as a result of which the body is subjected to what the two equal and opposite pushes, as a result of which the body will tend to contract, or tend to the what is happening is the length of the body will reduces. So this is called contraction. Here what is happening is when it is reducing means, so it produces compressive stress, and generally so the that kind of the in this condition the stress applied is stress produced is called as the compressive stress, and that load is called as the compressive load, and compressive load and compressive stresses both are negative, whereas in case of the the tensile load and tensile stress both are considered with the positive one. Now coming to the third one, here what is happening? The rivet is what is happening? So here the two plates are joined by the rivet in position, and here the two plates are the force are applied at two plates. So here the two plates try to shear up the rivet. Here the road developed is neither along the axis nor perpendicular to the axis, but it is with some kind of angle. So here what is happening is, as a result of which this rivet is subjected to shear load, and when the applied load is more than the strength of that rivet, so what is happening is the rivet will be shear up. So this is called a shear load, and the fourth one is called torsional load. Here what is happening is the one end of the member is subjected to rotational moment, and whereas the other end is fixed in the plate. So it produces the twisting effect, and the load developed is called as the torsional load. So like this. Now coming to the so accordingly the stresses are also classified depending on the load developed. Now so coming to this assignment and stresses and so now we have already covered the stresses and types of loads and types of stresses. Now actually the this strength of materials subject is very important for the mechanical engineering students, because it gives the basic concepts of the forces and their application and kinds of stresses, and this knowledge is very much essential in the designing of measurement subjects, and also in the evaluation of the forces during the machining process, and it is also found used in many other linked subjects. And so with this and also the strength of materials means generally the finding the strength. That means we are going to find out the strength of a given material, and we will going to know whether the given material is suitable to our requirement or not. So firstly, we will find out the strength. So generally, what is happening in the designing process, some kind of forces and stresses are taken into consideration, and accordingly, how much stress is coming on that part, on that element, or how much force is coming will be evaluated, and accordingly, we'll have a check whether the selected material is able to withstand the forces that are going to be induced on that member. So it gives a clear concept and basic idea in selecting the materials, whether we are going to have a safe design or not. And also this strength of material also will give the basic concept about the properties of the materials. Like we got the hardness, toughness, and yield strength. Like that we got so many properties. So the knowledge of these properties are very much essential for selecting the material for any kind of purpose. So this strength of materials gives the very basic concepts in selecting the materials for the different applications, and this same strength of materials subject can be taught in the different names as the solid mechanics, mechanics of solids, and the extension of this solid mechanics also can be studied in the design of measurements and manufacturing science and so on. So in the different subjects, the knowledge of strength of materials and mechanical properties of the materials are very much required. And this and once again we will coming to the uh, uh, what is called the coming to the summary part. So in this class we have discussed about the different kinds of loads and the classification of the loads. The next one is the stresses. So definition of stresses and classification of the stresses and their sign convention with the and also we have done some examples, that is the calculation of the stresses in the materials. So now we also can define what is the stress. Stress can be defined as the amount of resistance suffered by a body per unit area of cross section when it is subjected to external forces is called as the stress. And mathematically, stress F is equal to force by area. That is, so F is equal to P by A, and generally it is measured in newtons per square millimeter. Next, the loads classification also we have studied. That is, so according to the manner in which they are applied. That is according to the how they are applied. So whether dead load, that is in case of dead loads, the initially the magnitude is zero, and so gradually the magnitude will reaches to the maximum value. And in case of the live load or varying load, the here what is happening is some constant amount will some constant amount of load will be there, and the remaining part of the load will vary from zero to maximum. That is trapezoidal load. So in case of trapezoidal load is nothing but a combination of the rectangular load and the triangular load. So that is called as the fluctuating load, and in this case constantly the load value will vary. Some constant will be there, but over the constant value the magnitude will always change. So that is called as the fluctuating load or the varying load. The next one is the shock load or the impact load. So in this case what is happening is the load is suddenly applied. It produces shock or impact, and this kind of load is called as the shock load. And generally when you compare with that of the shock load and dead load, the effect of the shock load is double amount as that of the dead load if the magnitude of the force is same. So it produces a double effect and will have the much more effect as compared to that of the dead load or the steady load. Next, so as per the manner in which they are applied, that is the effect, how, so what kind of effect they are producing. Accordingly, they are classified as the tensile, compressive, shear, and bending, and also the torsional loads. Now the stresses. So according to the forces, the stresses also, because the stress is nothing but the force applied by area. So depending on the nature of force applied to a body, the stress will be developed. So according to the nature, so it will develop the tensile stress, compressive stress, and shear stress. So here the tensile stress will produce the elongation, and compressive stress will produce the contraction, and shear stress will produce the shearing action. And the formula for the tensile stress is equal to the simply tensile load by area, or it is nothing but a load by area. The compressive stress is also equal to compressive load by area cross section, and shear stress is equal to, here very important we should note that the area to be taken as a surface area but not the cross section area. In case of the tensile stress and compressive stress, we should take the cross section area into consideration, but in case of the shear stress, the area in shear, that is nothing but the surface area, so that we should take into consideration. And shear stress is equal to load in shear, or the shear load by surface area or the shear area. And this is the strain. So strain is nothing but the whenever a body is subjected to some kind of forces, it produces either elongation or contraction. So if the tensile force is applied, it produces elongation. If the compressive force is applied, it produces contraction. Whatever is the thing, but so some kind of change will occur in the length of the body. So the change in dimension by original dimension. The ratio of the change in dimension to the original dimension is called as the strain, and it is denoted by the small e, and the small e is equal to delta L by L. Here the delta L is either change in length, it may be either positive or negative, so depending on the force. So if it is a tensile force, the strain is positive. If it is a compressive force, the strain produces a negative one. And sometimes what is happening is the longitude and dimension also will change. That means the if we apply the load along the lengthwise, the width also it may increase or decrease. So that width, when we are applying the load along the length, and the dimension taken along the width, that is perpendicular to that of the applied direction, is called the longitudinal direction. And in that case the longitudinal strain also can be calculated. Longitudinal strain is nothing but the change in longitudinal dimension by the original dimension. Like this we have to calculate the stresses and strains, and we also calculated some kind of problems. We have evaluated the stresses and strains, and we have conducted some simple quiz on the related, and also we have been assigned with some problems. So this is my day one video lesson. Thank you all.